morning, everyone. Start with a little bit of a slow warm-up, so jump up on the end of your mat for me. Good, soft knees, dropping your chin to your chest, and rolling down one vertebrae at a time, so that we're hanging over at the bottom. Make sure your arms are completely heavy, your head's released. Give it a little nod and shake. Adding a little bit of sway through your body. Put your hands to the floor and walk forwards into a plank position. Lift your hips up into downward dog. Press your chest towards your toes and pedal the legs out, dropping one heel to the floor at a time. Roll back into your plank and drop your knees to the floor so you're in a 4-point position. We'll go into cat-cow. Start by taking an inhale. As you exhale, tuck your pelvis, scoop your belly button up to your spine and push the floor away. Inhale, sink your belly button to the floor, eyes forward. Exhale, lift up through the core. Inhale, squeezing the shoulder blades together. A few more here. And just finding neutral spine, so if you're not sure what that is, just go back into the extreme of each of the two positions and then find that halfway point. Alright, we're going to do a little 3-movement sequence to finish warming up. So we start off with a plank. We push up into downward dog. We drop our bum to our heels into an extended bear squat. Then we'll push forward into our plank. So it's like we're moving through a triangle. So spread your fingertips out just to support your wrists. Step those feet back into a plank, belly button to spine. Start off by lifting your hips up, pushing your chest to your feet. Drop your hips down by bending your knees to the mat. Keep them hovering. Then push forward back into that plank position and we'll repeat. Hips come up into downward dog. Knees come down over the mat, body pushes forward into our plank. Do 3 more, lift up with the hips, drop the knees down, press forward. Last 2, lift the hips up, drop the knees down, and press forwards. Up through the hips, drop the knees down. Press forwards. We're going to reverse now. Start by pushing your bum back to your heels. Press your hips up into downward dog. Roll your body forward into a plank. Press your hips back to your heels. Lift them back up into downward dog. Roll your body forward. 3 more. Bum back to heels. Hips come high. Body rolls through. Drop your bum to your heels. Lift up, roll the body through, drop down last time, lift the hips, roll back into that plank. Alright, now that we're a little bit warm, we'll start our first lower body movement. So we're going to start off just with some bridges to warm up through the glutes. And we'll move into some sideline work and some squats, and then we'll do a little bit of core as well. That's the plan. I'm not sure how long whatever it will take, so we will chop and change as needed. All right. Just start by sitting down on your mat, plant your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, and then roll back down to lie. We're just going to start off with some normal glute bridging. The first thing we'll do is work through our pelvic tilt. Put your hands on your hips. If you can, find the hip bones. And I want you to start rocking through your pelvis, alternately drawing your belly button into your spine and squeezing the glutes, then releasing your core and letting your back relax onto the floor. So it's a small movement. It's the beginning of our bridge. We'll do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. On this last one, we're then going to follow up and lift all the way up into our bridge. Keeping our rib cage down, tucking through our pelvis, belly button drawn into your spine. Rolling back down 1 vertebrae at a time. Releasing that pelvis, tucking, rolling back up. So we're going to move through a few bridges nice and slowly. Really concentrate on articulating that movement through your spine. Over another 3. And down. 2. Down. 1. And down. I want you to step your feet out nice and wide for me, so at least the width of your mat, if not a little bit wider. And we'll go back into our bridges. Tuck the pelvis, roll the hips up, and lowering back down. Keep going for 8, 7, digging your heels into the floor. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Roll back down. Bring your feet back about hip width apart. Tuck your pelvis, roll the hips up so we're at the top of our bridge. We're going to move through a couple of different things here. First thing I want you to do is drive your toes into the floor and lift your heels up the ground. From here, we're going to roll down halfway and back up, keeping our toes pressing into the floor with our heels elevated. Your hips should stay lifted from the ground. And halfway down, lifting back up for 10, 9, 8, 7, squeezing through the glutes. 5, 4, drive the heels up. 3, 2, and staying at the top of number 1. Drop your heels to the floor and lift them back up. Dropping down and raising. 10, 9, keep the hips as high as you can. 7, 6, try and find complete stillness through the body. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Heels back down, but our hips stay lifted. We're going to go into a bridge march from here. If it becomes too complicated, you just keep both feet on the ground and return to normal bridging. Otherwise, we're alternating, lifting one leg at a time over our hip at 90 degrees. Belly button drawn into your spine, and we're trying to find stillness through the body, no movement as we swap from side to side, and keeping that same level of hip elevation the entire time. Another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, keep the hips high. 3, 2, 1. Replant that foot. Roll back down 1 vertebrae at a time. And I'll get you to roll onto your right side now so that your left hip is up. All right, do some side lying glute work. There is one exercise straight off the bat that you can use a band for if you want to. I won't be, but it's a good way to make it a little more challenging. If your glutes are all stubborn, I'd encourage you not to use a band. So I'll start off with some good old-fashioned climbs. You want your heels in line with your bum, your knees slightly forward. Place one hand in front of you on the mat, and just make sure you're not collapsing the rib cage down onto the floor. Belly button drawn into your spine and lifting the rib cage up. Place your top hand on your hip if you can't connect with your glutes. It just helps that mind muscle connection. Press the feet together, and we're lifting and lowering that top leg. What you want to be looking out for here is any rocking through your pelvis. So ideally, we've got no movement through the rest of our body, just that top knee lifting and lowering nice and gently down to that bottom leg. Feel for that squeeze through the glutes, or have that hand in front of you on the floor. Going for about 20 more reps here. Belly button drawn into your spine. Press your feet together and make sure they stay on the floor for now. In 3, 2, 1, we're going to lift our feet off the ground and continue with our planks for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop your feet back to the floor, keeping your leg bent at this angle. We're going to go into a side leg raise. So as that leg comes straight back down, it should be finishing right on top of the bottom leg. Think about initiating the movement from the hip rather than trying to drive your heel up to the sky. Nice and tight through the core. Just checking that you haven't collapsed down into that mat. And you can also lie your head along your arm. It doesn't have to be propped up in your hand if you prefer. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that leg hovering at hip height. Extend it so it is straight. Point your toe and swing that leg forward in front of your hip. Flex the foot, drive it back in line with your other foot. Point, sweep forward. Flex, drive back. Again, we're trying to keep our body as still as possible. So for this one, it can be a bit more helpful to have that hand planted on the floor in front of you. Remember, flex, drive the heel back. Point, drive the toes forward, flex, heel back, point, toes forward. Another 8, point, 7, flex, 6, 5, 4, trying to keep your leg at hip height the entire time, 3, 2, 1, keep it extended and in line with your hip. Point the toe and start making little circles for me. Nearly done on this side. Try and make circles about the size of a dinner plate. Go forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse. Backwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that leg relax on the floor. Keep your hip and your bum, a bit of a rub. Good job. And let's flip it over. So, lying on our side again. Same position we've been on the other side. Feet in line with your bum, knees pointed forwards, belly button to spine, trying to lift the rib cage up off the mat slightly. If your glutes are stubborn, pop that hand on top to encourage mind muscle connection and into our clams. Trying to keep our hips stacked, forward, not tilting back. So we're quite a small movement. The hips are staying stacked one on top of the other, unless you've got a very flexible pelvis. Good. We'll be lifting our legs up in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick the heels up and continue. 10, 9, 8, 7. Really squeeze as you open. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the feet back to the floor and into our side leg lifts, keeping our leg in that same bent position. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Keep the hips stacked. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep that leg up at hip height. Extend it out to the wall. Point your toe. Sweep it in front of your hip. Flex the foot and drive it back. Remember this, we're trying to keep our body still. We don't want to be tilting forwards and backwards as our leg moves. So pop that one hand in front of your ribs on the mat. Make sure you're bracing your core so you've got a nice stable base to move from. Point the toes, swing forwards, flex the foot, drive back. Keep it all at hip height for me. Last 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to go into circles. Point the toe, making circles clockwise, about the size of a dinner plate, moving from the hip. So you should be nice and tight for your knee and your ankle. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse the movement. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop that leg down. Keep your butt a little cat good job. All right, well done. Have a little drink if you need. Okay, jump up on your feet for me. I'm going to finish off our glutes with a bit of a squat sequence. Rearrange. So we're going to start off with a sumo squat. Set those feet up nice and wide. You want your toes to be at about 45-degree angle. As you drop down into that sumo squat, we're shifting our hips back slightly rather than trying to keep our chest forward. All right, start off with, we're just going to drop down into a nice low sumo position and rise. As you're standing, make sure you're wrapping the glutes forward, squeezing through your inner thighs, and really driving the hips through. We'll do another 5 here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down to the bottom. Now we're going to add in a calf raise. Calf raise, stand. Calf raise, stand. Rocking right up onto the balls of your feet. Trying to keep your body nice and still. You should see your knees lift as you come into that calf raise. Your body stays relatively level. 5, 4, 3, 1, stay down here for me, half reps. Nice and controlled, up and down. Dig your heels into the floor. Squeeze your glutes as you lift. Half rep is always a little bit bigger than you think. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, going to pulsing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down, tiny little lifts at the bottom. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand and squeeze. Just give those legs a little shake out. All right. We're going to go on to some core movements to finish. So, I'm going to start off with some bird dog variations. So you get to a level of this movement that becomes challenging, just regress it to the one that we're doing before. So for our bird dogs, hands under the shoulders, knees under our hips. Want nice neutral spine, so again, just into a couple of cat-cows, just to help you find that neutral middle position. Once there, draw your belly button into your spine. We'll start just by reaching our left foot and right hand along the floor. We're going to remain in contact with the floor the entire time we extend until our knee and elbow are straight. Then we drag them back underneath our hand and our hip. Swap to the other side. Fingers and toes dragging on the floor until you reach that extension and back. As we alternate side to side, trying to get rid of any shift in weight. All of that comes from your core stability. For breathing here, I want you to inhale as you extend, exhale as you come back to center. Make sure your eyes are looking forward slightly. As your knee comes back under your hip, you should feel it scrape into the floor. Last 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to keep this extension here, and now lift, lower, lift, lower. We're staying on this one diagonal now, moving from the hip and from the shoulder. Doesn't need to be all the way up, just off the ground and back. Inhale up, exhale down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap the floor, drag back underneath shoulder and hip. Extend off the other side and into your lips. Belly button drawn into your spine. A little squeeze through the glute as you're lifting. Tapping down just as light as you can. Last 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap down, slide back under your shoulder and your hip. We're going to swap to that other diagonal again and add an elbow to the curl now. So extending our hand and our foot along the floor, lifting off the ground, then pulling our elbow into our knee by drawing our belly button to our spine, stretching back out again, staying on this same diagonal for me. Remember, if this gets too challenging, you just return to your leg And toe lifts, staying on the one diagonal. Really squeeze the floor with your base hand. And try not to push your hips back too far. Last 5. 4. Be nice and slow. 3. 2. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Extend. Bring your hand and foot to the floor. Slide back underneath. Onto the other side. Extend. Lift. And into that curl. Exhale in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. Inhale, extend. Feel the same amount of pressure through your hand and knee into the ground. Last 6. Really pull that knee in and through. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Extend. Hand and foot to the floor. Dragging back underneath. To finish off our 4-point series, we're going to do a hover. Anyone who's not up to holding a plank through their core, return just to alternate bird dogs for me. Do you want to go outside? Is that one screaming? Brief interlude while I open the back door. All right. Anyone who is up to holding the sort of pressure of a plank through their core, 4-point hover, you tap your toes, lift your knees, but keep them as close to the ground as you can, and we maintain that for 20 seconds. Ready? And off we go. Lift the knees, belly button to spine. Really dig into the floor with your fingertips. And most importantly, breathe. And rest. All right. Final sequence we're going to do is popping onto our back. We'll do some toe tap and leg lift variations. So we're going to start off with our feet planted on the floor like we did before we went into our glute bridges. And we're going to go into leg lift. So for these, we move from the hip bone or from the pelvis, belly button drawn into your spine, upper body nice and relaxed. I want you to take a big breath in, hold, lift your right leg up so your knee is over your hip. Exhale, return it to the floor. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, return to the floor. Alternating sides. Similar to our bird dogs. We're trying to keep our hips nice and still. So feel for an even amount of pressure across the small of your back, across your tailbone as it touches the floor. Last 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. All right. Next progression for these are our toe taps. So it's starting with both legs up over our hips. Feel free to return to just the leg lift portion. We inhale, tap our heel to the floor. Exhale, draw our leg back over our hip. Inhale, tap the alternate heel. Exhale, lift. Hands can be wherever is most comfortable for you. What we want to do is keep our spine in neutral, squeeze through our core, lift the pelvic floor. Inhale down, exhale lift. Just checking that you aren't tensing up through your upper body, through your face and your neck. Inhale down, exhale lift. 10 more, and then we've got another progression. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the legs up in tabletop. To make it harder, you can lift both of them straight for me. Alternate dropping one leg straight down to the floor. Otherwise, return to the toe taps or the leg lifts. Inhale down. Exhale lift. Concentrate on keeping your spine in neutral for me. All right, in 3 seconds, we're going to add in one more progression, 3 reps. 2 and 1. Keep the legs lifted, hands behind your head, curling your chest off the floor. Inhale down, exhale, lift one leg at a time. You want to try and keep your leg over your hip when it's not moving. Belly button drawn in nice and tight. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, keeping a gap between your chin and chest. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, just rock a little bit side to side on the floor. Drop your knees off to one side and then the other. Just to relax through the lower back a little bit. Plant your feet and just let your knees fall open so your hips get a little bit of release, because they can get a little bit tight holding those 90-degree positions. All right, we have one final progression to add into that. So either return to your toe taps for me or straight leg lowers. And if you're feeling confident to progress to one more variation, move into this. So we're going to start off in a dish position. Hands reaching back behind the head. And then we're going to exhale and pull up into a tuck. Inhale, stretch the arms and stretch the legs and sweep your arms behind your head. Exhale, tap through the heels. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl and tap. Really control your return to the floor here. We'll do about 30 more seconds here. Inhale, extend. Exhale, come in. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, nice work, crew. Just finish off with a little bit of a stretch. So pop into 90-90 for me. Lean back on your hands a little bit and rotate side to side. I don't know about you, but all of that glute and leg lifting work makes my hips a bit tight. And keep both bum cheeks touching the floor for me. And just make sure you aren't collapsing into your shoulders. Good. Bring the soles of the feet together into a butterfly. Sit up nice and tall for me. And just pressing the chest through and forward. Think about keeping your chest elevated as you bring your body down. Nice deep breaths here. Beautiful. All right. Well done, guys. This is our Pilates done for the morning.